I can't sleep. No, I can't sleep. So I was like, I've been finishing writing this book. And I got a hotel room last night so I can kind of get some alone time. Did a lot of work yesterday and then fell asleep. And then I just popped up at like 2. And I just been up ever since. And I just had like this thing that I had to say, man. I couldn't even not say it. And I feel like once I say it, I could probably get some rest so I can finish this book and turn it in by tonight. Today is one sec. I don't even know. It's a very important thing to understand. And what I learned about 666 energy is that I've been fucking with it already. I just didn't know. It's tied into my symbology, my understanding. It's tied into Imhotep. It's tied into a lot of things, right? It's tied into sound. Like, your brain is so powerful that if you give it a construct, it'll start manifesting what you need it to manifest. Like, if you give your brain a construct when you 12 to say, I want to play basketball, brain, your brain actually start creating a body for you, right? It start creating a body for you to be a basketball player, fam. Like, you remember how, like, you was growing up with such and such, he was kind of chubby, pudgy, and then summer camp when you was 12, your mom probably sent you to church summer camp, and your homeboy, he went to play basketball, and you come back at the end of the summer, this nigga done grew like 5 inches, done got all lanky, you still chubby and shit, like, what the fuck? What happened? How in the hell? Right? Some people call it puberty. Some people call it adolescence. That's actually the point in time where you create the construct for your brain to act out. But it don't stop there. You ever notice how a motherfucker who be acting old, they hit like 25, and then all of a sudden they just start looking old too? Like, what the fuck? You ever notice how your grandfather always look like a old nigga in his old pictures? Like, it be 1955, that nigga still look like he's 70. Like, how did that work, grandpa? What's happening is constructs. You notice how our generation, we like 35, 45, right? Niggas is 45 going on 50 acting like little ass boys. You ever notice that? Remember growing up, 45-year-old niggas and 50-year-old dudes, they was like, they had hella polish. Like, this is crazy, right? Joe Budden, 45 years old. And I'm saying all of this to say is that, man, it's thought constructs that allow us to live our best life. And we can't just think about that shit. We gotta say it. In the beginning, there was the Word. And the Word was God. Right? So the shit that you say, oh man, I'm getting old. Right? you create the construct within your brain to literally get old and wrinkled and shit. You can have the same concept. You can have the same concept and fucking be young, right? Be athletic, be healthy, be sexy, be beautiful. So in Revelations, you deal with a lot of like apocalyptic stuff. And when you deal with the apocalypse, the next word is like zombie apocalypse. So I'm going to use keywords because I don't want this video took down or flagged or nothing like that. But when you reference like the vaccine that's everybody getting, when you Google like from the CDC what an mRNA vaccine is, it's not an actual vaccine. It is a chemical messenger that goes into your body and starts creating proteins. Now, when you understand like growth processes and things like that, if you got a small nanobite energy creating small proteins day after day after day, right? Creating these proteins day after day after day. Yeah. Maybe right now we don't understand the full depths of what this vaccine could do, right? However, 9 months from now, after that vaccine has created all of those proteins in your body, what's the actual result? So in the Bible, they talk about the trials, right? The trials of revelation. Now today, they're talking about the clinical trials of the vaccine. So a lot of conscious people don't get into the Bible because they above the Bible. They don't fuck with the Bible. They think they just better than the Bible. However, conscious people will still pay rent. Conscious people will still go to school. Conscious people will still drive on the highways and byways and move and shake. They'll go to Burger King and order them a number 5 just like me. So what I'm saying is that the people who are in control, they really get into this shit. So if you wanted to understand the world that you living in, you ain't going to be able to talk to Bill Gates. You ain't going to be able to talk to goddamn nobody for real. Only thing you could do is talk to yourself, and you can reference the Bible to understand, these times that we living in, and you could use these signs, symbols, and codes to one, protect yourself, heal yourself, and understand. So I'm going to just go into the explanation of 666 so you're not confused about this shit. So let's be clear, right? 666 is a translation of a word. Baby, I couldn't sleep. I've been up ever since we texted. I can't sleep. Something wrong. I'm figuring I'll take a nap and then wake up and be ready to go. But probably after this video, it's time to get to it. I'm already drinking coffee, so I don't know what this nap, what I'm thinking about naps or whatever. So, anyways, so when you look, let's pause for a second, because we'll jump right into the number of men. We'll jump right into assuming a whole bunch of shit. We'll assume that what I heard about 666, because Bobby Hemmett said it, because Brother Pennick said it, because Dr. such and such said it, and Big Bad, I saw it on this YouTube, 666 mean this. But is that a function? Is that a technique? Can you then take that energy, 666 energy, and can you make love to me? You mean to tell me, you tell me 666 is the number of melanin Melanin is the most powerful substance in the universe, and you know that 666 is the power of melanin, and you ain't even gonna make love to me in a good way. What I mean is, if it don't have no benefits, then fuck you telling me for? What do you know if you can't utilize it within your relationship? You got the hottest shit in the world, the number of man, and it has no function, no technique, no craft associated with it. It's just a concept that niggas like to throw around. Niggas will call some shit evil. Niggas will call some shit demonic. Well, what is the function or the technique? Let's backtrack a little bit. So if a person say, my God is Allah, and another person say, my God is Jehovah, what's the difference between both of them people? I'm in a hotel room right now. If Jehovah, goddamn, is my God, and I'm in this room, and the person next door to me, God is Allah, am I going to disintegrate in the dust at some point? Like, what point is my life where I made a horrible decision, right? Religion is like, damn, am I making the right decision? Am I choosing the right church, right? Am I choosing the right God? Did I pray right? I prayed on one knee. Should I pray on both knees? Should I not pray on my knees at all? I don't even know God's name. Is it Yahweh, Jehovah, Allah? Like, it's so many different types of questions that why would you stand on any of it? Right? Because it ain't like everybody alive. A nigga could pull up in a Benz, a nigga could pull up in a Toyota, and they all got different religions. So, obviously, there's more to understand within religion, because when you deal with the concept of God, that shit should be bear witness. That shit should be a technique, a function. You should be able to put that shit on your application, right? I'm in tune with God. I know God for real. I can explain God. I can break them down for you. I can ins and outs. I can bear witness to God in this very moment, right? That's what this verse is alluding to, right? This is wisdom. Revelation chapter 13, verse 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that has understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of the beast, and his number is 666. What you notice about this actual verse is that you see the word number 3 times, meaning that numbers have 3 different contexts for which we can look at, examine, and apply the technique. If I say, man, I need 6 pieces of chips, and you bring me 2 pieces of chips, we got a problem, because 6 is a function. 6 is a technique. 6 is bear witness. If I'm a Chinese man and a Jewish person, I'm a Chinese Jewish person and I'm a black Muslim, and you both give us 6 pieces of chips, then we both can bear witness to those 6 pieces of chips, irregardless of who our God is or who our God isn't. If everybody at the store, you know what I'm saying, the goddamn chips is $1.50. Everybody, no matter what religion, they paying $1.50 for the damn chips, because the number is God. Not the actual God. Because the number has an actual function that if I hire a mason, I'm not going to do a background check on his religion. I'm just going to make sure that he can measure 36 by 36 by 36, because that's the size of my bricks. I don't care who he prays to or who he don't pray to. Will you show up on time? Time, measure, numbers, right? the reason why certain men or women can, well, men specifically, can act a certain type of way versus men who can't act a certain type of way is based on their money. I know what you're saying when you dealing with broke niggas. I don't care about money. I would wouldn't be me. Listen, if a man said you don't gotta pay rent no more, you don't have to work another day in your life, you don't even have to drive if you don't want to, babe, the concept of money is not a concept anymore. If you wanted to shop every single day and buy shit every single day, you could. To the point that you'll shop so much, babe, you will be tired of shopping. You will see every single store. You'll have all the money in the world. No, for real, here goes my card, babe. Go shopping right now. You think you gonna have the same mouth with a person who asking you to pump the gas while they go get a shell? You think you gonna have that same respect for a person that say, hey babe, can I borrow $20? Hold me over till Friday? You won't. Meaning that if a man ain't did shit in life, but he got his numbers together, oh, you better respect him. Or he ain't gonna deal with you and you gonna be wondering what the fuck you gonna eat tonight. Right? So think about it. Numbers can be used to count. Numbers can be used to label. And numbers can be used to deify. Numbers give us structure, stability. It's 7 days in a week. We can all bear witness to that. Until you go to another country, and in the Jewish country, it's 8 days in a week. If you go to a real archaic tribal, it's probably 28 days or 13 days in a week because they follow in the moon to chart their time. When I started this video, I said thoughts are a construct that our body begins to live out. Once you begin to identify different constructs, your body begins to adapt differently based on what you're thinking. Meaning that everybody that got old created that construct for them to be old. And everybody that remained young created that construct for them to be young and remain young. Whew. Ears started ringing. Let's look at something real quick. We'll get back to the numbers in a second because the numbers is very important in understanding 666. Because first of all, our concept of numbers is later day. Even though we think and we can imagine that the ancient Greeks used numbers, they didn't. They used symbols and numerals. But when it came to counting, it was only one number, 1. And even more so, in order to understand something, this is how you can translate something, by understanding the number, right? If Jesus is the number 33, right? And I want to say Jesus to people who don't understand Jesus or my words or nothing that I got going on. What I can then say is numbers that resonate with the frequency of 33. Things like Messiah, Lucifer, the devil, even Satan to a certain degree. Because you might say Jesus is the most powerful entity in the West, but there's other frequencies that go along with Jesus that don't specifically say Jesus Christ, but they have different resonances with it. I'll give you an example. It was a movie that just came out with about Fred Hampton called Judas and the Black Messiah. Now, that's not Judas and Jesus Christ. It's Judas and the Black Messiah, but Messiah has a 33 frequency, and its definitions and concepts correlate to give us an understanding that even though we're watching a story about Fred Hampton, who is not the historical Jesus, his story or mythos can easily align with the particular Jesus mythos, even though they're two different people. So to bring an understanding, you just call it Black Messiah, Judas and the Black Messiah, so you can understand subconsciously, I'm about to watch a story about Jesus Christ, or I'm going to watch a story about 33. But 33 is 3 plus 3, which is 6, which just ties into the frequency. What is the sixth frequency? The sixth frequency is the hex frequency. You've seen it in WandaVision. Every pattern was a hex pattern. And this hex pattern is the same pattern that exists on the top of Saturn. Now, if you mapped out the lines for a hexagonal, you would then see that it could be formed into a two-dimensional cube. So if you can visualize a hexagon and draw the lines, you can Google all of this. That's the wrong slide. Yeah, that's the right one. You can Google all of this and you can get the cube. Now, once you visualize the two-dimensional cube, you can then create a three-dimensional cube. Now, a three-dimensional cube can be a brick or a cornerstone or a masonry object. So this is the deeper aspect of masonry in relation to spirituality. What's so spiritual about building a house or building a building? Well, how the fuck did you create that cube? It started with a hexagonal pattern, then creates the cube 2D on paper, and then from that 2D model, we can follow those steps and create the 3D reality. And if you do that enough, you can create whole cities, empires, all of this stuff. I'm sitting in a room right now in a cube shape, and the hotel is a cube shape, but generally it's a whole bunch of people in here. We feel safe and protected to go back to our families based upon this actual cube. So when you understand like sacred geometry, these kind of abstract, deep type of things, you realize that this concept is in your DNA for one, but this is how you create your world for two. But not only that, but this is how the world is being created, and nobody can stop you. And the last thing is that you can only stop yourself by one, not understanding the technique or the function of being a master builder. You just wish to be a master builder, but you don't understand the knowledge within it or how to utilize the signs and symbols just like everybody else, because you feel oppressed, because you feel like emotional, or because you don't learn, you feel out the loop. But when you reference Revelation 13:18, the most important thing you can have is wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom is insight to calculate the number of the beast. So the number is a misnomer because it don't necessarily have to be a numero or counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. number could thus be a symbol. So let's read this again and then read it with our third eyes so we can fully understand what's being put forward. Let the person who has insight, let the person who can go within themselves, converse with their soul, and calculate the symbol of the beast. For it is the symbol of a man, not men in general, a man, a particular man or woman, anthropos, spiritual being having a human experience. And that symbol is 666. But 666 wasn't invented when the person was writing it. It's like the Nike shoes. When the person was creating the Air Max, he ain't put no pentagrams on it, Bible verses on it, blood in the air bubble, nothing like that. He put air in the bubble. He made some black shoes with some black threads and some black lace and said, these are the Air Max 97s. Somebody else see the Air Max 97s and say, them is Jesus shoes, because I put a cross on it, I put a Bible verse, and in the air bubble I put holy water. So these are not Air Maxes any longer. These are Jesus shoes. And somebody sees those Jesus shoes and says, I'm going to take that holy water, put blood in it. Instead of that Jesus pendant, I'm going to put a Satan pendant. And instead of a happy Bible verse, I'm going to put a dark Bible verse. So now these are Satan shoes. No, them is Air Maxes. They not Jesus shoes, nor they are Satan shoes. So the number is not 666. 666 is an English translation. It's not number, it's symbol. So if I write number, then the construct then is looking for a number. So if you're not looking for a symbol and you only looking for a number, then you'll never understand what 66 is. The same way as you'll never understand that these is Air Max 97s, not Satan shoes. It got translated into Satan shoes, but the root of it is Air Max 97. So if you went to a Chinese factory and said, can you make me some Satan shoes? They say, there's no such thing as Satan shoes. You said, it's 666 pairs of Satan shoes. Lil Nas X sold them. I seen them on the internet. They sold out. I need you to make them. I don't know what you're talking about. There is no such thing as Satan shoes. And then you do research and say, I need you to make Air Max 97s with these trinkets. Okay. I wasn't going to be able to make them without a proper context of the origin. So if you don't understand the origin of 666, there's no way you could be satisfied in a definition of 666 means carbon. What function does that serve? Why was 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons? Okay, what's the function of that? What are we going to do with that? Are every time we say 666, right? We going to say that it represents carbon, it represents melanin. All we going to do is say we going to feel good at the end of the day. but we ain't going to develop no psychic functions, no conscious wherewithal, no actual progress or development. We'll just keep stroking each other off, talking about 666 means melanin. Let's go back. Let the person who has insight, let the person who has wisdom calculate the symbol of the beast. For it is the symbol of a man, and that symbol is 666. So, when you look in the concordance for 636, you find that it's an abbreviation for 666 because they say that Greek words equate to a numeral system, and they very well could, and it might be a beautiful translation, but that does not help me get to a spiritual function, get to a spiritual understanding. Oh, the Greek words, they translate to Greek numerals. And then I go to sleep at night and wake up like nothing else happened. But when I understand that these words have an actual origin, then I get into, okay, what's the origin? Chi, Xi, or XI, I don't know how to pronounce that, Sigma, right? Not only do they connect to numbers, they connect to pictures. Because they're not just numbers, the numbers came later. Once it's all set up and organized, now we can start naming stuff and numbering things and doing all of these cool things, right? But at the root, to the origin of it, we had these Greek symbols that were pictures. Now, if I had a picture that had a function and I wanted to stop everybody from utilizing that function, I would not even reference the function any longer. I would just reference the picture. That's just the 6. That's just a symbol that don't mean nothing. Right? However, once you start to dive deep into the symbology, Jesus laying on a cross, right? Revelations, they get into their Jesus bag, boy. You hear me? They Jesus, Lord Jesus, right? So when you reading it, it's like, dang, this Jesus person got to be hella important, right? But once again, was it a person or a symbol? Because when you referencing Revelation, everything is alluding to Jesus. Here's wisdom. Let him that understands count the symbol of the beast, for it is the symbol of a man. That man is Jesus. And Jesus's symbol is 636. So instead of counting some things out and not having nothing to show for it, let's look at these symbols. So you have stigma or sigma, you have she or xi, and then you have chi or ki. My Greek pronunciation isn't the best. So ki is a cross. Chi or shy is a snake, or a rod rather. And sigma is a snake. So you have a snake, you have a rod, and you have a cross. You have a snake, you have a rod, and you have a cross. These are the symbols of the beast. These are the symbols of man, of a man, of a particular man. And when you get into the intricacies and the ins and outs of Revelation, you see that this man ain't all for the good. And I have to revert and retract because we dealing with ancient Greek translation of ancient prophecy. The reason that the Bible is so important because we were going to live in these days. Not other people, but you specifically. When you awakened into consciousness, it was for you to come to live during a great apocalypse. And for you, it's a matter of wisdom. But for other people, it's a matter of being a fucking zombie. Because they're sitting here first of all, they're not even into Revelations. Let's just put that there. And then they get into the conscious community and people come right at them soon as you walk in the door. 666 mean melanin and carbon, okay? Before you walk into any passageway or door, we need to get this understood. 666 means melanin and carbon, and that's it. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. You don't need to learn nothing else, fam. That's all you need. As opposed to 666 is a later translation of unnecessary. Do you need to put satanic symbols on the Air Max 97? No. The shoe is already raw. You could buy it from the store as is. You don't need to put fucking Bible verses, holy water, blood, piss, nothing in the bubble. You could just leave it with air. Perfectly fine, functional shoe. You don't need to add shit to it. Meaning that 666 isn't even necessary. The concept of 666 isn't even necessary. Because when you deal with the wisdom and the insight of the symbology, then you'll realize that the rod, the snake, and the cross and the symbology is everywhere you fucking go. That's how you know you're in the West. That's where you know you're in Jesus land. People, this is what we need to understand. Spirituality is a technique, and it's a function, and it's a craft. You have to get your hands dirty. You can't rely on me on no level to walk your spiritual journey for you. Under no circumstances. Whatever you face with a particular conundrum, a wonderful thought, if it don't inspire you to action, you wasting your spiritual journey, time, and energy. If there wasn't a technique, and if there wasn't a craft, and there wasn't a function, we wouldn't have awoken at this particular time. Because you could have grown up in any time in history and just regurgitated hot shit and been perfectly fine. As we deal with apocalypse and revelations, meaning to reveal, You have to go deeper underneath the surface to get into the shits. And what I'm presenting is that visualization combined with root elemental concepts such as cubes, such as snakes, such as rods, such as hexagons, such as crosses, on meditating in these particular things is a technique, it's a craft, it's a function, it's something to meditate on. Meditating on the spine being a snake. And that Shakti energy rising up your spine and activating who you are at a consciousness level. That's real healing. 666 is a symbol for healing. So, like I said, I'm going to show you Sigma is what would be a snake. Shi or a Psi would be what would be a rod. And Chai or Ki what would be a cross. Now, what does that look like in just sigil form? It looks like this in sigil form. But the art of sigil making is, so if you working with sigils and you got sigil, you do sigil magic, and you just write your sigils out like that, that's not going to impress or impact your subconscious, now is it? And when you talk about healing or harming, it's nothing that consciously is going to suffice to subconsciously get into the root. It don't matter what you're doing at the conscious level, because once I got your subconscious control, it don't matter. As much health information you got in this world, right, about veganism and plant-based diets and things of that nature, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. Every McDonald's drive-through is going crazy right now. Think about that. Think about how insane it is to pull up first thing in the morning and eat some fucking McDonald's. Like, that's insane. But when I say that them lines is pulled out to the middle of the street right now, and literally, I would say tens of thousands in every city, state, or town, there's a McDonald's breakfast drive-through line that's going fucking crazy in every town. And you know for a fact that that food is absolute garbage. You know that it's garbage. But the subconscious control is way more powerful than some documentary that you read or some book that you read in reference to whatever. It's a whole bunch of shit we know in the conscious community that better our lives, but it don't seem to be affecting the masses, not in the least. Because the symbology in the subconscious mind programming is way more powerful than anything you can think about or talk about. You gonna eat that sandwich, and by the time you get to work, you're gonna have to take a shit. But you'll go the next day and the next day and the next day, and your doctor say, you know, you got real bad health problems and issues, but you'll never correlate to the fact that you've been getting sausage, eggs, and cheeses every morning. When for real, if you study health, you ain't even supposed to eat when you wake up. You supposed to give your digestive system a break. Like, for real, you shouldn't eat till later in the day. You should drink water in the morning. I'm saying all of this because I know for a fact that it does not fucking matter. Niggas will pull up to Burger King, McDonald's in the morning, regardless of anything. Because them fucking McDonald's, whatever you want, whatever you imagine them to be, them golden arches, that subconscious programming, that hexagonal code for that yellow and that red. How many different reds are there in the spectrum of red? About 1,000. It's about 1,000 different variations of red. But when you doing marketing and branding, you better know your goddamn hexagonal code for the specific red that you're using. So when I look at McDonald's, it's not that they're just using red and yellow. They're using a specific red and a specific yellow. And to get a specific color, you have to use a hexagonal code. Now, hex is Saturn. At the top of Saturn is a hexagonal shape. Now, when you look at a hexagon and you draw lines, you could get a cube. And from that two-dimensional cube, you could build a goddamn house. So our means of creation, our means of branding is a means of subconsciously controlling the masses. When you look at Coca-Cola and McDonald's, you're probably looking at the same hexagonal code. So your business colors might be red, but what red? If you want to make an impact, you better figure out what color is that McDonald's red and copy that hexagonal code, and people will be buying your lashes. People will be buying your yaki. People will be buying your alcohol that you be selling on Instagram, right? Your treats, your cheesecake, whatever your hustle is. I'm talking about techniques and functions and symbols. Hex codes. Google it. I don't know exactly what these colors be exactly linked to, but I know that these colors is exactly identified. I know that once I determined my brand colors for Colombian Exchange, business went up through the roof, meaning that me and my wife had the website for 3 years. We'd be lucky if we get a sale in a month. Lucky. Oh, we got a sale. Hey. It was rare. But then got them brand colors, specific hex codes. I know my colors from a mile away. I know my colors. This is what I'm saying. It's a technique and it's a function. So you get your brand colors, you get the hex code, and you market yourself with your colors distinct, like in your mind. Not like I be asking people what their brand colors are. They be like, blue. How many fucking shades of blue is there? I don't know. Like 1,000, fam. It could get crazy. It could get crazy. You gotta like in the chat, you gotta think of it outside of green, yellow, red, blue. That shit don't matter. The blending of colors and the specifics to like the pinpoint accuracy of a specific color. Like it's a root element of colors, which is cool. But that McDonald's red is something different. That McDonald's Jello is something different, right? That Coca-Cola Red, something different. So, what I'm trying to allude to is that when you get to the root of all business, all religions, all medical professions, all life, let's just clear that up. All life is based upon this actual symbol. And if you incorporate this symbol in your personal understanding, you will be successful. When you think about medical energy, you might think that that person is saving people, that person is helping people, and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if I told you, hi, my name is Dr. Anthony, you'd think like, man, you got a lot of money. Fair? You told your mama today, I met a guy, he a doctor. Your mama says, girl, you lying. How you go from little man to a doctor? Stop playing with me. No, mama, for real, he a doctor. Girl, let me meet him and his mama. Right? I want to meet his mama and his daddy, because you walk into a hospital, that's wealth. Whether you know it or not, the insurance claims and the invoices, ambulance rides. You ever got on the ambulance and got the bill? They be like $1 million because we took you down the street because you stubbed your toe on the curb. You like, dang. Everything you do in the medical profession costs money. Even if you don't gotta pay it out of pocket, somebody fronting that bill for you. If you need it, come on up in there. It's a faculty room. You ever go to the hospital cafeteria? Some luxury, fam. Now, the reason why we ain't mad about it, because we need to go up in that joint from time to time. I tell you what, if the hood mystic stubbed his toe, I would not get a reading from y'all. I would go to my local clinic or emergency room and get the proper tape that I need for my stubbed toe and tell the nurses and doctors, thank you very much for your service. How much do I owe you? What am I trying to say? A hospital ain't no different from a goddamn Sears or a JCPenney. People willingly go in there, do commerce, do business, might even save my life, right? But the root of it is that, nigga, we made it, right? I've yet to see a broke doctor. So, gotta be light before I get heavy, because that's the way these things go. And I know a lot of people is really into this situation in the reference of they afraid and they watch the news and stuff like that. And that's perfectly fine. Like, I get it, man. But I also read the Bible. And then Revelation chapter 16, verse 17, it's an interesting space. Like in chapter 16, they keep talking about these vials, VIAL. I'm like, this is weird. Like, why do they keep talking about these vials and shit? Like, this is a weird time to be reading about vials, and then every time I get on my YouTube or anything, it's about distributing vaccines. And it's like, vaccines are held in vials. And I'm like, damn, that's kind of crazy for real, fam. Like, that is interesting. And the crazy thing about the whole shit is that people that I know and love, they running up into the vaccines and they getting them. And the crazy part for me is that these is literal clinical trials. And when you go on the dang CDC website, they say these vaccines ain't really vaccines. I'm not making that up. That's what they say. These are new technologies, and what these technologies do, we insert them into your body and they create new proteins. As if to say that your body is not smarter than these machines that we gonna put in your body. Human life has existed for millions and millions and millions of years. Never once did we feel that it needed to be injected with more. Your DNA, your RNA is proteins. You are proteins. You create proteins. So you don't need nothing else to enter into your body to create more proteins unless you do. That's why they have clinical trial periods, and you let those trial periods work themselves out. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. That's not the case. And even through the trial period, they got emergency orders to say these is mandated. And the fucked up part is that people are being forced. And they say, well, you're not being forced. Well, if I got a job, and my job saying if you don't get this vaccine, you're going to get fired. Well, in my mind, based upon my construct, it's like you forcing me to get it. Yeah, I know I can quit my job, but I got kids at home that need to eat, and I'm living check to check. So it ain't the fact that I could just quit my job. But see, it's another part in the Bible that talk about trials and tribulations. So you literally got clinical trials playing out in real time. In the Bible, they talk about the vials. In Revelation specifically, they talk about the vials being disseminated onto earth. Right? The Antichrist releasing these vials, and you really literally got vials out here of this, not even a vaccine. It's an mRNA transmitter metal device being inserted into your body that is communicating with your messenger RNA to create proteins to fight a disease that you may have or may have not. The craziest part about the disease is that it has a 97%. If you get it, there's only a 3% chance that you would die. It's like dangerous as hell to be riding on the highway. Like super dangerous. People be driving 70, 80 miles per hour. If you got into a car accident going 30 miles an hour and there was no brakes applied, the effects could be deadly. It's doubled when you're on the highway. Millions of people have died from drunk driving. People get drunk and drive all the time. People drive on the highway all the time, and there are hella risks involved in getting in your car. Even more so, they install every car with a seatbelt just to ensure that you don't even fly out the fucking windshield. You could literally fly out your windshield at any time. You drive around with your kids in the car with you at high speeds. Meaning that we do risky shit. COVID is a risk that you might get, right? flu. You can get the flu. You can get cancer. You can get goddamn tuberculosis. You can get all types of shit out here in these streets. So to feel that you need something that your body can't protect you from, that a machine can assist you, like internally, that's revelations. Because the deepest thing that you can have in this world is wisdom and insight. And without that, you might be a zombie. So, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom because I use these symbols. I understand these symbols and I use these symbols for myself. Because these symbols is for everybody. You don't got to be a $1 billion corporation. These symbols are so powerful that on every damn medical ambulance, every hospital, every Blue Cross Blue Shield, every Red Cross, every clinic utilizes this symbol because this symbol does more healing than any medicine, than any diagnosis, any prognosis. If this symbol did not heal human beings at a subconscious level, it would not be plastered on every church, every medical facility, every form of symbology. Mercury, Saturn. What are these things doing? These things are healing you, right? But if I'm not trying to stun on nobody, I'm not going to go to the goddamn jewelry store. If I'm not sick, I'm not going to utilize these energies and these frequencies. My thing with all spiritual matters, all spiritual concepts and spiritual technology, please don't wait until you're sick to start utilizing subconscious mind programming. I work with the caduceus. Y'all know I work with the goddamn caduceus. Y'all know I work with these symbols all the time. Because I ain't trying to wait until I'm sick to need healing. I'm going to be healed, live healing, exemplify and understand what these things is. You need a caduceus in your area. If you work at a desk, this sigil should be somewhere in your like you should have some form of this sigil somewhere. Work with this sigil and understand the sigil because this is the symbol of the beast, meaning that bad people can use this symbol. This is also the symbol of man, meaning that good people, you can use this symbol too. He who has wisdom, he who has insight can understand that. So Ogun says that with this metal, I can make a weapon or I can make a tool. But it's the same metal. So when you understand that you're a spiritual being having a human experience, you can utilize spiritual motifs just like Red Cross Blue Shield, just like the CDC, just like the United Nations, just like the White House, just like the government. Because healing is your birthright. Healing is natural. This is what the 666 energy is. See, like, duality says the mark of the beast. 666 is... See, this is how crazy niggas sound, right? When you dualistic, you say 666 is not evil. 666 is carbon. 666 is melanin. That means 666 is good. So the white people who don't have melanin is bad, and I'm good. You ain't doing nothing but switching roles, fam. You ain't did no actual function, technique, or healing or craft in relation to anything real. You sat, spewed out some rhetoric, and that was just that. But when it comes down to the come down of actual healing, it does not matter who has melanin to me or not. I don't care about how many protons, electrons, neutrons you have, because that's microscopic. That's micro. The macro is the symbology and the overall understanding that you can bear witness to. We can get in the ambulance right now and be charged $4,000 for this damn symbol to be graced upon our subconscious mind. So why pay $4,000 for healing when you could deal with these symbologies and energies for free now? Because if you don't deal with them, we'll all be running to the hospital, doctor. Can you help me, please? Please help me. Help me. What do you got? I'm in pain, doc. I just need some pain meds. Well, I got some heroin lace Percocets that's going to be highly addictive. Doc, I don't care. Just give it to me. The pain gone, but now you got a fucking opioid addiction. Once you get rid of the opioid addiction, now you got a fucking rufinol or fentanyl addiction, and it just get worse and worse and worse. Because it's the same thing as going to goddamn McDonald's. Knowing damn well that shit ain't no good to eat. But people do drugs. People do all types of weird shit in this world, in this life, even your Hotep people, because they cannot get to the technique or function of spiritual energy. It's more of a rhetoric. It's more of a social concept. It's more of a come up. See, it's a lot of spiritual people who would charge you top dollar for nothing. Charge you top dollar for nothing and then be confused as to life. Because they feel like they can do no wrong. But when you do no wrong, you do no right. I'm going to leave that there. So, I think I went through it all. I think I went through all my little slides. A number is a mathematical object used to count, measure, and label. Count, measure, and label. Here is wisdom. Let him or her that has the understanding count the number of the beast. Count, measure, and label. This is divinity. This is all you need. Count, measure, and label. If you got $6, you show it as $6, then it's $6. That's a function. If you hotep, motep, rotep, cotep, but you can't even let me get $10, you can't offer me shit. You not God body. And if you can't offer me shit and you gonna charge me top dollar just to say that I'm God body, you don't get it. But let's just get into more of a deeper understanding. Numbers can be represented in language with number words, More universally, individual numbers can be represented by symbols called numerals. By symbols. This is the symbol for 666. That's Chi, Chi, Sigma, or in reverse. But the numbers is a later invention to keep us asleep. What is true mathematics? True mathematics is a hexagonal shape coming up with a 2D map and then taking that 2D map and creating a 3D reality. Did they teach you that in grade school? Did they teach you sacred geometry, visualization, meditation? Did they teach you Fibonacci code in grade school? Well, you ain't got taught no form of math in your life, fam. Ever. Numbers, to count numbers is just one level. But to label and measure those numbers is how you get into the function. But how do you... So once you count, label, and measure, you create the symbol that represents what your actual technique and function is. When you talk about Jesus, when you talk about Satan, when you talk about all of this shit, that shit don't mean nothing. When you talk about my goddamn toe hurt, and I need some healing, you ain't gonna do no praying, right? You're gonna go to the doctor, right? Now, some of us have healing energy exuding out of our pores, like just heal, 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 heal. And you know how we build that energy up? By working with sigils. Y'all know the sigil that I work with, what I've been talking about for this past year, and it's very much coming to a head. The healing that I come with is straight from these chakras. It is activating your light body. It is raising up that dormant snake energy up your spine and being protected by your own hexagonal structure and pattern. I will have to show you in the next video, but in basic psychic development, they talk about creating a psychic wall around you. If you don't walk around with a psychic wall, you might feel attacked. Let's know that the ideas that I root myself in is the ideas and the constructs that I live in. But it's all from understanding the technique and the function of the particular symbols related to Revelation and Apocalypse. Because it's not going to be, I'm not going to be a zombie out here. And so the main point of this message, because like when you reference like the CDC, you can go on their website right now and see what they preparing for. They preparing for a zombie apocalypse. Where is them zombies going to come from? 9 months of these vaccines creating these proteins is going to really decalcify and block some real serious motor functions in these people. You think that these movies that they've been putting out, The Walking Dead and all of this shit, all of these zombie movies and stuff, was just somebody's entertainment? No, that shit gonna be real. And you can see it starting now. Where is it gonna start from? These goddamn vaccines. So whether y'all like that or not, whether it make you unfriend me or block me or whatever, that's cool. Because it's still the truth. There's no way that you would need to take an emergency vaccine from a disease that ain't even going to kill you. And it's shit out here that can actually kill you, and you're not even protecting yourself from it. You know how deadly it is to breathe in diesel fuel. We take our mask off when we outside walking in the streets. That's when we need our mask on. You know how crazy it is to breathe in. You know how crazy it is to pull up to a gas station, get out your car, and put fucking methane gas into your gas pump and just stand there and just be breathing normally. If you understood what was happening in your body when you pump gas, you would think twice about ever pumping gas. When I was growing up, it was like this thing called full service, and it's probably in certain areas in the country, full service gas stations. They don't have that shit no more. Because the people who was working full service gas stations, just breathing that gas in all day, they been got cancer and died a long time ago. Cancer is not natural. You don't just wake up and get cancer. You do stuff over time that creates proteins that your body is like, what the fuck is this? So I'm going to just leave that there. And it grows and grows and starts to disrupt and disturb your natural homeostasis. And you up out of here, fam. So as opposed to it taking people out, I think that people is going to be, for the most part, alive, but not really. Alive, but not really. And it's sad to say, but it's a lot of weird shit going on. Think about kids who... Think about children who just always had technology. Just always had a phone. Been on tablets and shit since they was little babies and kids. Now they grown. And they come into the world as if everything is based upon the ideology that they adopt. And since technology is such a thing that it's hard for me to be engaged in this phone and be engaged with my biology, so I gotta cut it off and gotta go into nature and go into like more different abstract ways of thinking and things like that. I have to cut the phone off to get there. Now, what tends to happen is that for children and adults, they give you a whole bunch of victims. And they say, well, what race are you? They say, are you white? You're black? You're Chinese? White people are victims. You're a victim to your ancestors' warlike tendencies. Black people, you're victims, right? You're victims because of slavery. Chinese people, you're victims because of the oppressive Chinese government. Japanese people, you're victims because of the technocracy you had to fight through. Arabian people, you're victims because Muslim and Islam is oppressive. The women have to wear these, everybody's victims. Even in gender. Listen, society says that women are victims. Society says that men are victims. How is both, if there's two genders, how are both men and women victims? And then they're like, well, no, there's more than two genders. You're being oppressive. There's actually, LBGTQ. Are y'all not fucking victims too? Like everybody else? There isn't a group of people that's not victimized. Meaning that's the whole point of separating you into a victim or to a set or to a gender or to a race or to a classification, to an age, to an ideology that puts your victimhood in a safe space where it can't be fucked with. But there is no actual, well, we do all have traumas that separate us. But the goal is not to say in that separated space, yes, I've did crimes. I'm not doing crimes today, so why would I just hold my head down and walk out these streets like, yeah, I sold weed before? When the fact is, people can walk into the store and buy weed for $10 and walk out with a receipt. So why should I feel bad? Because I sold a little weed when I was 19. I'm 36. That don't even make sense. So I'm not a victim in my past, nor am I associated with any gender. I'm not a man. I'm not a woman. I'm not black. I'm not white. I'm not none of that shit. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. There is no confusion in who I am. I'm pure consciousness. Kyrie is the body that I exist in. Kyrie is something that I use that people can label, count, and measure. It's a symbol. But the real me is the word. Because in the beginning was the word, and the word was God. The word was with God. See, when you speak a specific construct that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, that is now the path that you walk down. When you say I'm a black person, that's the path you got to walk down. You got a whole encoded history that's not even given to you in a specific right and exact way. Because in order to give it to you in the right and exact way, you got to get with your family origin. Speaking of which, me and my wife got to do another Detroit Magic episode, because we getting so many downloads into like that entanglement. Like me and my wife was just meant to be together, and it's so interesting that we're 5 years into our relationship finding new clues as to the facts that we were meant to be. But later on tonight, I will be going live again to deal with more chakra work with Prime Harmonic and Dark Serpent. I just was talking because I've been up since 2, not tired. It's like when I wake up this early, I can't work because I don't know if I'm about to go back to sleep or not. But the sun about to come out, and I'm about to get some more coffee and finish this book up. I got a lot of shit to do, but that's why I'm kind of posted up at the hotel. I'll see y'all on YouTube tonight, where we'll do another podcast, Lord willing, and then later I'm gonna be all my people at the Spiritual Ascension University. We got another course, so hopefully y'all got y'all homework done and y'all ready for astrology in the body. Shout out to Spirit Doula, everybody in the class. We're about to go super duper crazy with education today. And so for my part, I'm going to prepare for the rest of the day so I don't be talking to people sounding all crazy and half-witted like I sound today or in this live. Hopefully this information wasn't too scattered. Hopefully it brought you into some awareness and you can understand what 666 really means. To understand what 66 means, I'm going to break it down. 666 is not a number, it is a symbol. It became a number later. That symbol is Chi, Psi, Sigma, which is a cross with a snake and a rod. In Psalms, they talk about the Lord is thy wrath and thy staff, and thy shall comfort me. It's the same protection and healing that all human beings exist with. The people who have marketed or cornered the market are your doctors and medical professionals and insurance companies. However, you can tap into the health and wealth and energies of the symbol of 666 if you begin to work with the sigil and understanding that it's your responsibility to heal yourself. Don't walk up into doctors' offices, right, wishing and hoping they can save you, because by that time it's probably too late. But let me hurry up and end this before my phone die. I'll talk to y'all on the flip side. Peace.